What if there was a safe space for you to explore artificial intelligence? What if there was a team of friendly professionals waiting to help you examine what you can do with AI in your courses? Welcome to the world of what if.
My name is Jennifer Fabricius. I serve as the Director for College and Faculty Engagement with the Florida Atlantic Career Center.
And my name is Melissa Conrad, and I serve as a career coach at the Career Center.
And we're joining you this morning to talk about some of our resources, specifically utilizing AI in ways that we can help our students in their career preparedness and everything in terms of helping them achieve their goals post their academic career here. But just in case you're not familiar with the Career Center, we just wanted to briefly start by introducing our office and our mission, which is pretty simple. We're here to help our students, alumni, and employer partners build towards successful futures. And we have a lot of great resources to help them do that, but we are also a faculty servicing branch of the institution. And so today we want to highlight a couple resources that we have available to you as faculty that can be easily incorporated into your curriculum to help your students in their career journeys and their career preparedness. My role in the Career Center is to specifically work with faculty and staff in helping your curriculum integration. So assisting in any which way that you might want to add in additional career assignments or activities to help in our students' preparation for postgraduate success. Today, we're going to go over two of our resources. The first one that Melissa will demo is called Jobscan, which is an AI resume optimization tool that allows a user to upload their resume and scan that against a position that they are looking to apply to. And it helps the user understand, number one, the likelihood of them actually getting through the applicant tracking system. And number two, it will provide them some suggestions on things to add to their resume to enhance their likelihood of getting their resume through that portal and in front of an actual hiring manager. And then we'll go into demoing Big Interview, which is a mock interview or practice interview tool that utilizes AI to provide the user with real-time feedback in the moment as they complete those questions. There are questions on different industries, different general categories, admissions for graduate school, anything you can think of. And additionally, if there's something in the system, or not in the system rather, that you would like to incorporate into your class assignments or just for the better of your students, we can assist you in creating that individual unique set of questions. Our goal really here today is to hopefully help you after this session identify areas in your curriculum in which maybe these might be a good component to add in for our student success. We have created modules in Canvas that are pre-made, turnkey ready assignments that can just be easily integrated and dropped into a Canvas course on both of these tools, as well as other career resources. My contact information is at the bottom as I work directly with faculty for these types of programs. So I'm happy to connect with all of you individually afterwards, or if you'd like to set up a one-on-one meeting to evaluate your curriculum individually, I'm happy to do that as well. But I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Melissa. She's going to demo the software, and then we'll be back to help you all at the end if you have any questions.
Thank you, Jen. All right, everybody. So let's get into it, okay? All right, so we're gonna start with the resume first, and we're gonna work our way to the interview, kind of, the normal speed of things. So the first thing that you're going to hear, you heard Jen say it, myself say it, is applicant tracking system, or simply ATS. So you might be asking, what is ATS? Do my students know what ATS is? How do I even know what ATS is? But basically it's the recruiters, the companies, the jobs, it's their AI that they use to go through these applications that they are getting. Honestly, it's been around for a while now, and I just think, especially with how much AI has gotten, popular lately, it's starting to figure out ways to make it easier. So, and that's where Jobscan comes in. So basically, the ATS is helping companies save time, stay organized, and just kind of go through all of these applications quickly and efficiently. Because if you think about it, big companies use it, of course. They might be getting hundreds, if not thousands, of applications for a single job. And also smaller companies use it too. It just saves time, keeps them organized, things like that. So just kind of mentioning this to your students, because I will tell you, I knew nothing about ATS before I worked in the Career Center. So now I know a lot about it, but I just think a lot of people don't realize how important that it is, how much used it is. So the benefits of using AI for your resume is really going to help students make their resume stand out in the application process. Basically, students need to know how to format the resume. They need to keep it clear, concise, so when it is inputted into these online systems and submitted through the ATS software, it's not moving their information all around. We actually just heard from a company yesterday in the Career Center, and they specifically talked about this, like having your resume looking clean, looking organized, because the ATS that they use, it sometimes moves people's things around if it's not set up correctly. So that's very important. But what it does when it inputs it into the system, it's pulling out these key details, the work experience, their education, their skills. In the next slide, I'll show you a little bit different of what exactly they're looking for. This is also something to keep in mind, is these knockout questions. A lot of companies use these knockout questions in the beginning of the ATS. So think of when your students are filling out applications, they're, answering all these questions, they're putting in their resume, their cover letter. If they don't have some of those, the ATS already knocks it out. So no one even looks at it at all, which is crazy. Something I also like to mention too, and this is just one example, but something even as simple as a student putting on their resume BS instead of Bachelor of Science in whatever it may be, that those two letters BS can also maybe exclude a student. Something as simple as that, just not spelling it out, might make the ATS think, oh, this student does not have a bachelor's degree. We're not interested in hiring them for this intern position. Even though they do, or they're in the process of it, the ATS doesn't recognize the BS as a bachelor's degree. So just little things like that just kind of are ways to beat the ATS, quote unquote. So some things that they are looking for in the ATS. You can see on the left, I have kind of listed some of the most important things that the recruiters look for. I will tell you all of this information I actually found on Jobscan's website. So 76% of the recruiters are looking for the skills. So things such as, could be hard skills or even soft skills, I'm not sure. It could be things Java, Photoshop, CPR, different things like that. Could be looking for that. Almost 60%, they're looking for the education. So they're making sure your major is kind of matching or similar to what that job is looking for. They also look by job title. So that means like your previous work experience, certifications, which is important as well, because especially for some of those like more like Java and coding things. I know you get certifications, Excel even. And then they're also looking by your years of experience, because sometimes even though it might say entry level, it might want 1 year experience or something like that. So that's why it's important for your students to put the dates on their resume. And then as well, which I think a lot of people don't realize this one, is the location. So if you're looking for a job in Boca Raton, but you didn't write, Boca on your resume, it might exclude you. So just little things like that are just ways to help your students kind of stand out again in the application process. So this quote again from Jobscan, which I think is crazy, 98% of Fortune 500 companies are using some form of applicant tracking systems. And it's just, like I said, makes it easier for them, but kind of makes it harder for your students. And all of those keywords, I think this is very, very important. All of them are coming from the job description. And that's what Jobscan is going to help your students do. So this is just a screen that we use to kind of share with students if we're doing a presentation or something. So I just thought it was important to share here, just because a little bit more information as well. But with Jobscan, you are going to create the account for students, faculty, or staff. You're able to create the account with your FAU email address. You can choose whatever password you'd like. It does not go through single sign-on or anything like that. But you just create the account with your FAU email, choose your password, and it's just jobscan.com. I don't even know if the website, yeah, there is, I'll show our website in a little bit, but it's just jobscan.com. So like I said, very great tool. And once I kind of demo it, you'll really see the benefits of it. This I actually also pulled from Jobscan. This I think is very important to note, because most people, if you're not a recruiter, you don't have access to this. This is their kind of behind the scenes, their perspective, POV. So this is the first page right here. That is what the recruiters are looking for. So they're hiring an intern, a job. And your recruiter is looking for someone, as you can see on the top, it says required. They're looking for someone with PHP. I don't even know what that means. I'm sure it's some coding skill, but that's what they want. They need that one skill, okay? But underneath it, it says optional. So you see there's Java, Photoshop, C++. Hopefully I didn't say that wrong. And you can see that's just kind of what they're looking for. So I don't know what this job is, but those are the skills that the recruiter is wanting. So once they do that, they're going through all their candidates. You can see here, the skills are up here. Then it's all these people have applied, and this is what the recruiter sees. This is how they can quickly go through and see who is my number one candidate. You can see it's a DOS up here at the top, but the one they're actually looking at is Joe Jones. That's the resume that's on the sample here. And you can see it kind of has his resume. And as you can see, it kind of just lists it very simply. I'm sure this is probably what the applicant tracking system does. Like I mentioned, it kind of moves things around. So you can see that word PHP, which we know that was the required one. He has it on here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, that word PHP. That's why Joe Jones is in the top 4. He also has the words Java. I don't see Photoshop. It might be somewhere, but I don't see C++ either, but doesn't matter. You can still get the idea. So just based on this one screen grab, this is what your students need to know that the recruiters are looking for. It's not just simply they're reading through everything. They're doing this. And if you don't stand out on the top, your resume is probably not going to get looked at. So I think reminding, reiterating to your students how important it is so they stand out is what you need to do. So we're going to move on, and then in the demo, I'll really show you how to do it, but we're going to move on. So now we did our resume. We're going to move on to our interview now. So this is where Big Interview is going to come in. So your students, they made it through the ATS. They got a good score. They're good. Now they've got an interview set up. So how should your students prepare? I think a lot of students, they think, you know, I did the resume, I did this. Now I just have to, you know, just going to do a little couple questions. I'll be good to go. No, the best way for them is to practice not only with in person, they should be practicing by themselves too, just to kind of hear what they sound like, hear what they look like, or see what they look like, I should say, especially kind of through a screen, because even though a lot of things are still in person these days, a lot of first round interviews are done virtually. Sometimes they are even done without an actual person. They are done, a student records themselves, submits it, the recruiter looks at it, then they might have an in-person interview. So I think that's very important. So that's where we're going to use Big Interview. So it's a tool, and according to their website, I pulled this from there. Big Interview users, they find jobs 5 times faster than the national average. So these are students who are using this tool, implementing it, practicing, the biggest thing here, practice. Because I think students, and especially as, you know, faculty, staff, we are telling them, you've got to join a club. You have to go volunteer. You have to find an internship. You've got to go to the career fair. You have to do all these things, but we're not really helping them with the most important part, which is the interview. I say this all the time. The resume gets you the interview. You get the job, right? You are the one that's going to sell yourself. And I think a lot of our students, they do all of these things, but the resume, or the interview, that's where they're falling short. So again, according to Big Interview, they have these 3 kind of challenges that students face. And I think based on what I see, I think it is true. So the number 1 challenge they'd see is they aren't sure what type of questions they're going to be asked. You know, they might have, you know, tell me about yourself, something like that, but they're not sure what else is going to be asked in the interview. They also might not know how to properly sell themselves. And once I do the demo, you'll kind of see it gives you feedback, AI feedback on how to do that. But a lot of our students are maybe they're talking too quickly, they're talking too slow, too much, too long. There's so much that goes into it. And sometimes I always say people talk a lot without saying anything. So Big Interview is going to help you just be like clear and concise with your answer. And then I think this goes for anybody. Doesn't matter if you're entry level or senior level, you're still going to be nervous. You're still going to be stressed. I feel like I was saying earlier to them, I do these types of things all the time, but I do still get nervous, but it's better than I used to be. But we're always nervous. We're always stressed. And I think especially our students with limited experience, or maybe they just have volunteering experience, we want to help them feel as confident and comfortable as possible. So they need to know all these things. They also need to know, and that's where Big Interview comes in again, these more like job-specific questions, the competencies, like teamwork, those are kind of more soft skills as well. Kind of goes into like the job description. So kind of pulling that information, putting it into Big Interview, practicing those questions so they are able to sell themselves and share that information with all of these people they're interviewing with. So inside Big Interview, this is just some screen grabs. I'll show you it in a minute. This is what it'll look like. So it'll have the question over there on the left, and you'll see like your little picture of when you recorded it, and it gives you feedback. It tells you everything. It tells you, number one, if you answered the question well. It also tells you if you spoke too fast, too slow, like the pace. It tells you if you said too many times, or like. I'm sometimes bad with that myself. It even tells you your vocabulary, if it's, simple, a little bit more advanced. It even gives you like filler words. I think the length it tells you, you'll see once I get in there, but it really gives you in-depth feedback for every single question that these students are answering. It doesn't just do it for one part of the interview, it does it for every single question. And then once the students kind of read through, because if you'll see once we click into everything, they can read through, okay, I can do this, let me try it again, I'm going to re-record myself. Then they can get a better idea and see, oh, I did improve. You can see the stats right on the screen. And then this is Pam. She's the creator of Big Interview. But also within Big Interview, there's actually a whole curriculum as well, which you can import into your Canvas courses if you are interested in that. And it has things such as the first 90 days on a new job. What other curriculum is in there? They also just have like what you should be doing, monitoring yourself, things like that. And it's just kind of like video lessons. I also have it in written as well, because I know we have some audio learners, visual learners, things like that. So it's really just a great platform to utilize as someone who's teaching these students these things, because someone in here earlier said they feel like they wish they had something like this when they were a student. So I think by just giving it to them, providing it to them, you are going to make their lives so much easier. Okay, and then this again, this is what we share with our students. This is Big Interview. The website is somewhere on the screen right here, fau.biginterview.com. That's the website. Again, just register with your email address, FAU email address, I should say. And you could choose your own password. You'll be good to go. I will say if you have any questions with registering, students, faculty, staff, just please give us a call or email us. We can always help you, because I know sometimes with technology there are some issues. Okay, so now let's get into the fun part, the demo, what I can show you all. Okay, so we're gonna go back to our resume, okay? So this is Jobscan. So this is, I always say, these are just the kind of the basic things. Once you log in, this is what it'll look like. This is your dashboard, your main page. You will see up here, just always make sure, like you just have to do it one time, but make sure you see this, the little diamond with the premium sign. This will make sure you have the account, because as in FAU, faculty, staff, even your students, they have access to the premium. The premium gets you everything, all the good stuff. So just make sure you see that, and you can just see, I just have my FAU email address. So I will tell you, Jobscan has a lot of features. I could be up here for an hour just talking about Jobscan to you guys, but I'm not gonna bore you. So the feature that we're gonna talk about today is right here on the dashboard. It is called, I always say this, I don't know if it's called Power Edit, but that's what I call it. It's right here. So I already have resumes that I've uploaded. I use them all the time with my students. So what you'll do is, it'll have nothing here, but you'll just upload a resume, and then you'll paste a job description. So I should have said this earlier, but with your job description, or your resume, I'm sorry, your students might feel like they need to do this every single time. I always tell students, No, because you're going to get overwhelmed. You're going to get stressed. If you're applying to 20 jobs and you're doing this every time, you're going to be angry at your teacher for telling you this. So what you should do is have a really good base resume, one plain resume that you use for kind of everything. Yeah, you can tweak it a word or two here, but for the most part, it's not going to change. But if you're in the job searching process, internship searching process, and your students are coming across, say they find 10 jobs, tell them, pick your top 3 and do this power edit feature for those 3, the ones you really, really, really want. Because if you do it every time, it's just going to become too much and not good. So that's just my little spiel about that. So I'm going to do one that I've already kind of set up just for this interview. But like, again, upload, paste the job description, power edit. And when you do that, hold on, ignore what I'm doing right here. This is what it'll look like. So I used one of our resumes from our Career Center examples. We've got Fabian Finance today. And you can see just his base resume here. He has a score of 30. Okay, this is just his regular resume. We haven't done anything. And if you go down or go over to the job description tab, the job I found was for an accountant 1, I think it was. It's somewhere on here. Yeah, accountant 1, I already forgot. Accountant 1 with the city of Boca Raton. I just found this one online. I just pasted it. Purposely, I did pick this one because it had a big job description, which was really helpful for this presentation, but you can still do it if the job description is shorter. It's just going to be a little harder to get your score higher. The more information that the job gives, of course, it's going to make it easier for you to match your students to match their resume, but it still can be done. But this one you can see has a bunch of information. I was like, this is good. So you might be wondering, okay, Melissa, why is there things in green? Why are there things in red? So green is on Fabian's resume. Red is missing from Fabian's resume. So those are those keywords, those ATS competencies that they are looking for. So we're going to go back to his resume up here. And what you're going to do, the first thing that your students need to do is go to the searchability tab in this update job information. It's in red, you can see. Tell your students, put the company name and put the link of that, the URL of that job description, because Jobscan knows which ATS they are using. So tell your students to do that first. I'm not going to do it because I already have it preloaded, but if I was with a student, we would do this together. So just make sure they're doing that. It just makes it even better when you're updating your resume. So the things that your students are going to click between are going to be the hard skills and the soft skills, okay? So quickly, it kind of puts those words in red, like I mentioned, that are missing from my resume with Fabian. So this, I should have also said this too. This goes for anything, especially with the use of AI. Number 1, students need to be reading every single thing that this AI is putting out, okay? And I know as professors, you all are telling them that, but we don't know if they're always listening, but I'll reiterate it. So make sure they're reading everything, okay? And also, of course, especially with a resume, do not lie. Your students, you just can't lie on a resume because it's going to come to get you some point. So just tell your students, of course, and that's where if they don't have a lot of these skills, yeah, it's going to be hard to make their resume match, but there's ways to word it to make it seem like you have some of them. You don't want to just turn in nothing. And even with this base resume, Fabian has some green things, which are good. Even if he was to turn this in, a 30 is not a terrible score. You will see that Jobscan suggests 75% or higher. My opinion, that's a little high. I say 50 is a better one to aim for, but that's Jobscan's point. But anyways, we're going to go back to our resume here. So Microsoft Excel. Oh my gosh, I know Microsoft Excel. I can't believe I forgot to put that on my resume. So there's kind of 2 ways that you can do it. I'm going to show you the easy way first. We're going to scroll down a little bit. So you can see here's Fabian's skills, okay? So simply, you're just going to go over to Microsoft Excel. You're going to press this little arrow, and I know it's kind of small, but it says Add to Core Skills. We're going to click on it. It's going to bring us right here. It's green. Now we're at a 32. We went up 2 points just by adding the word Microsoft Excel. Super easy, good to go. However, you can see here, they want that word Excel on here twice, actually. I shouldn't say they want it, but it was in the job description twice. So if we can find a way to add that in again, it's going to make Fabian's score even higher. So that's one way. So another way you can do it, I'll do the same example, Microsoft Excel. If you click on it, and this goes for anything, give it a second, and it will come up with AI generated bullet points that can be used in your resume. So, like I said, let's read through everything here. Utilize Microsoft Excel to analyze financial data, identifying trends and insights to inform business decisions. Okay, yeah, that sounds pretty good. They give you a couple, different ones. And of course, my biggest thing, just like AI in general, you can change what it says. Just because it gave you this doesn't mean you have to use that exactly. So I'm gonna just let's do the first one. That sounds good. And I know Fabian has an intern position, so we're gonna go down. I'm gonna click in the last part of his bullet point here. I'm gonna hit enter, and I'm just gonna paste it. I'm not gonna change it just for the sake of the presentation, but like I said, your students can change it for sure. You can see now Fabian's is green, and it's now at a 34. Again, up another 2 points just by adding that word again. We do already have it, but we put it in there again. So you can go ahead and click through all of these and do that. It makes it so simple, so easy. One thing that I think is really cool, like this job specifically, and we'll go back to the job description. They wanted, where was it? Right here. They wanted someone with a driver's license. So I know not everybody has one, but most people do. But you may think, oh, I don't need to put a driver's license as a skill, but for this resume, it's going to help you because they want it. So I'm just, instead of putting it as a bullet point, I'm just going to go ahead and add that to Fabian's skill section, driver's license. Give it a second. It's going to turn green. We're now at a 36. Yes, it's going up slowly, but this job also had a lot of things that were wanted. So it will take a little bit of time to make it match. But you can see just quickly, we went from a 30 to a 36 just by adding 1, 2, 3 things really. And then, so that was hard skills. You can look at soft skills. And these are just things that you can kind of use as one of your words. So a committed person and a creative person. Yeah, Fabian is both of those things. So let's go ahead and add those. I would tell your students don't put those as a skill because a skill section should specifically be hard skills. We can use these 2 words as a bullet point. So I'm going to click on creative. Give it a moment. It's going to generate some phrases for him. And we are going to use one and we'll put it, let's see. Ooh, this one's pretty good. Yeah, because they also talk about forecasts. I'm going to use this one because I remember reading that. So I'm going to say Fabian did that again at his internship. You can put it wherever you want, but we'll just put it there. Same thing, Control V. So see, we had 2. There was 2 in there that those words wanted. So now Fabian's score is probably going to go up higher. Oh, we're at a 50 now. So if it were me and my student, if this were you, you would tell your students, you know what? This is, I think, good. Those other things, you don't have all those skills yet, and that's okay. But now, just by adding a couple things, Fabian has a way better chance of getting reviewed. So I think that's why Jobscan is so great. It just makes it simple, easy. And then right here, your students can download. They can download it as a PDF. They can download it as a Word document, turn in their application, be good to go. So yeah, so that was really good. Any questions so far? Okay. All right, we're gonna go to now Big Interview. Again, Big Interview, like I said, create your account with your FEO email address. This is what it looks like. You're on your dashboard. Everybody's looks the same. There is only there's not a premium version, I don't believe. So you should have access to everything once you're in your account. There's a couple features, but for today, we're gonna go to practice. We're gonna go to practice sets. So it literally tells you start here. That's where I always say, that's where I tell my students, this is where you can tell your students, start right here in general. These are questions that I will say every job interview asks. They ask you, tell me about yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Why do you want to work here? Things like that. I know all of these questions. I'm a career coach. This is what I do. But your students may not know these questions. So I like it because you can filter by easy, medium, and hard, like different levels of interviewers, I guess you could say. Because again, you don't always know who you're going to be meeting with. You could be meeting with someone who doesn't want to be there and they could just be in a bad mood that day, or who knows what. Your students can practice meeting with different people. So we're just going to look at Stacy because she's a good one. So what I like about it, this computer doesn't have a camera, so I can't like show you what it actually looks like, but this is just, I always tell students, look at the questions first, just so your kind of brain has a good idea of what they're going to be doing. So you can see it has all these different questions. So if I didn't know how to respond to this question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? You can click on it and it gives you a breakdown of what you should say. It even gives you an example answer. And then you can also practice like typing out the answer first. And then you can also, of course, practice with Stacy, you know, record yourself, see what you look like, see what you sound, or listen to what you sound like. So it's really, really nice. You can do that. Let me go back to the main page. Hold on. Sorry, guys. You can go back here and see they have entry, mid, senior. They even have internship questions too, which is great because I know so many students, we're trying to get them to get their internships right now. So that's some of the questions. I'm just going to go to some of the ones that I've recorded for you all just for the sake of this. So with Big Interview, I'm sorry. They give you the AI feedback kind of like a gold, a silver, a bronze. Gold is really good. You did a great job. Silver, still good, but you could do a little work. And then bronze, yeah, you want to pick up your skills a little bit. So I purposely answered these questions in a bad way just so we could see how I can improve. But we'll look at the bronze one. We'll do this one. So my question was, how has your education prepared you for this role? I won't play it, but I just said a bunch of mumbo jumbo. I remember when I practiced it, I don't even know what I was saying. So you can see it tells me right off the bat, I did not fully answer the question. It gave me an X. I did that on purpose, but I didn't do a good job. The next thing as well, I was talking a little bit fast. And you can see it's telling me it's not too bad, but it's in the yellow. So my pace of speech was just a little bit too high. That's another thing I think students, I'm sure faculty can agree, even when students are giving presentations, they're nervous, they're talking fast, they're talking slow, talking too much. I said the word 5 times, which they didn't like. I also had some pretty simple vocabulary. Again, Big Interview said, not bad, but you could be better. And then you can see as well, here's a whole other section. I used some power words. I did use some filler words that were not very good. I did pause correctly. They like that. And then one of the really cool features is eye contact that I think Big Interview has. You can actually set it up. Your students can set it up on their computer. They calibrate it. Just, you gotta like move your head around. But it will track your eyes. So it will tell you where you're looking. I purposely was looking away just for the sake because I knew it was doing this. But it's really nice because a lot of students, I don't even think they realize that they're not giving eye contact, you know, and this will tell you, hey, you didn't do it. Here's how to improve it. So, and then you can scroll down here, see some more things. I did this, I think is important. It told me I had good lighting. I think a lot of students just do stuff in their dark dorms and don't realize that there's no problem for anyone else. But this gives you all of that. So here, this one I think is very important. Again, like I said, we're talking too much, we're talking too little, not enough. It goes to kind of going back to the students selling themselves. If you click on this one, so let's click on improve now for the length. It tells you, it's kind of short, but briefly, my answer should have been between 1 minute and 2 minutes. In a student's mind, they may be thinking, oh my gosh, how can I talk for that long? They can do it. I know they can. But this tells them how to do it. So it's just a great way so they can read this, record it again if they feel good. They can go through all of their things. So let's look at my speech because we know that was kind of fast. You can see it's a bit faster. This is what it should be. Some people do talk fast. So this one really gives a lot. Once I read through it, all right, let me try to be a little slower. I'm going to record it again. So that's the bronze one. And let me just show you the silver one, just so you can see the difference a little bit. This one, why are you interested in this job? I remember saying like, oh, it's virtual. I want to work remote. I don't know what I was saying, but I did at least answer the question. I was honest. So you can see I have a check mark there. I did answer the question well. I spoke a little slower here, so I got the green. I was good. I did use again. My language is a little simple. Things like that. You guys kind of get the idea. I used a lot of filler words. I remember being like, oh, well, I think, you know, stuff like that. So and I think a lot of us, I still talk like that, it's just who I am, but trying to be intentional about it, especially during an interview, is important. So I think, again, I answered it shortly as well. So I think working on it to improve my length would have sold myself a little bit better. So all of these things are just one ways. And like I said, this doesn't do this just for the interview as a whole. It does it for every single question. So students are going to get a breakdown of their response for every question during that interview. An interview could have 10, 20, 30 questions, who knows? So I think that's what's really nice about it. So if you go back into practice sets, we looked at general, we'll look at industry. This is really nice. So if you are a business professor, you can look at, like for Fabian's resume, like we were talking about, we can look at some finance questions. So we can see, again, I'll just show you the questions so I can't get into the interview. You can see here, again, there are some general ones, of course, they're going to be mixed in, but you're also going to get some of those more job specific ones as well, which is really cool. So you can get that. Let's go back to industry. Hold on. Let me go this way, it's a little easier. So you can also see that we have by competency. So let me just show it this way. There it is. So if students are looking to be better at a certain skill, you can show them these questions relate to those skills. That's really nice. And then the other practice sets, we even have admissions. So if you are a professor who has students who are looking to go to medical school, looking to even just go to get their MBA or something like that, there are specific questions for those things, like social work, masters of social work. There's some questions like that on here, which is really nice because, there's questions for everything. Even though it's an interview, it could just be an admissions interview, but you still need to sell yourself and do things like that. So I think reiterating again to your students just how important it is to practice, practice, practice will make them just a better employee, a better student, just everything in the long run. And then just like Jen mentioned earlier, if there's something that you don't see in Big Interview and that you're looking, I have students who need to practice XYZ, we can actually create questions for you all as well. So if that's helpful, definitely reach out to Jen and she can kind of come up with a more specific assignment to you in your class. Okay. So the last thing that I'll show you guys is going to be just our Career Center website. We're just going to wrap it up here. A lot of the resources that I showed you are on here. Of course, you are more than welcome to meet with Jen and she can kind of explain it further, how to integrate it in your class. But it's just fau.edu/career. I am on the student page, but you just get to it right here. I'll show you how to get to it. That brings you there. If you click on Jobscan, that will take you to all the information about Jobscan. If you click on Career Coaching Services, you will see the interviewing. That'll give you everything that your students need to know about interviewing. We have a lot of good stuff on our website, so definitely check it out for you and your students. It's very helpful. So I just wanted to say thank you all for joining.